Be a part of Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steven Larson. Starting at $1 a month, you can enjoy Going In Raw ad-free, gain access to the daily 30-minute Going In Raw post-show, exclusive merchandise, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today. Click the link in the description.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw Countout. Special edition. It's the time of the year. So the reason why we're filming this 20 days ago.
So we don't have to work today.
So we don't have to work today. Correct. I don't know. We went to Disneyland last year for New Year's.
I can't remember that.
I don't know what we're doing this year. So, anyways, we figure
it's the end of the year.
Well, yeah, we're looking at best and worst of stuff.
Yeah.
And so this year, or this time today, we're taking a look at the wrestlers who had the best and worst 2018.
Correct.
Now that 2018's in the book, we're talking about today the worst ones. In this video, a lot of these wrestlers are probably very happy to not have to deal with 2018 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, a lot of these wrestlers might have, some of them anyways, might have very, very good 2019s.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
There's some really good silver linings for some of these wrestlers.
Yes.
Others, not so much. However, we'll dive right into it.
Yes, shall we? Please,
See
thank
who
you.
had the top 10 wrestlers who had the worst 2018.
2018.
Number 10.
10.
The Authors of Pain.
So they got called up the Raw after Mania to much excitement.
Yeah.
It was Akam,
Razor.
Akam, Razar, and the man who had the algorithm, Paul Ellering.
Yes.
However,
Things
I
were going
believe
good.
it was the end of their first match on their first night on Raw. They said goodbye to Paul Ellering, and from that point on, it all fell apart.
It all fell apart. They ended up on main event.
Not
The main event.
of Raw, but
Main event, the
show main event.
which nobody watches.
No, they disappeared on Raw, from Raw, during that time where they were main event.
Yeah.
And then they got put with Drake Maverick. He subsequently peed himself.
Terrible.
And the following night on Raw, the crowd was chanting AOPP.
Yeah.
Way to bury your would-be dominant tag team, Raw Creative.
Terrible. And to make matters even worse, when we were thinking to ourselves, I wonder why they'd get rid of Paul Ellering. Maybe because he's old, he doesn't like the travel schedule. No, apparently he thoroughly enjoys staying active in the wrestling business, doing what he was doing. Vince just thought he was too old.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Paul Ellering, he has the legacy. There's not only does he carry himself with much gravitas, he can back that up because he managed one of, if not the greatest tag team of all time, the Road Warriors.
Man,
he comes into this relationship with Authors of Pain with that experience. That benefits Authors of Pain immensely.
Oh, huge. I mean, they're taking this next step up to the big main roster. What better guide for them would be Paul Ellering?
I know, man.
But no, they went with Rockstar Spud, which was just, it's been an absolute disaster.
And at first he showed up with the Authors of Pain Halloween costume.
It was terrible.
And then he peed himself.
And then he peed himself. At Survivor Series. That turned him into a big old joke. They held the tag team titles. Authors of Pain did, but it was a fairly short run.
Yeah, it just ended this past week on Raw.
They got them off of Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. Is that right?
No, it was on the Fallout. Oh no, they beat Seth.
Oh, that's right.
They beat Seth for him.
They won their tag team titles by beating one person in a handicap match. Didn't even squash him.
No.
Did not even squash him. Seth Rollins actually could have pulled that one out. So they won it in a weak manner.
Yeah, not in dominating fashion.
They had a weak program basically against Bobby Roode and Chad Gable,
which they lost.
That's kind of
But here's the silver lining.
They're young.
First, Drake Maverick peed himself. Now he cost Authors of Pain the tag team titles.
You would think.
The first step to bringing Authors of Pain back to relevance is to ditch Drake Maverick.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They need to do that.
Yeah, immediately.
Now, okay, here's the thing. We are filming this 20 days ago.
Yeah.
So there are
could have happened in the interim.
At least 3 opportunities between TLC and probably like 2 Raws for them to have ditched Drake Maverick. If that happened, that's a massive silver lining. If that hasn't happened as of New Year's Eve 2018, that's bad.
That's really bad.
That's really bad.
I mean, honestly, just costing them the tag titles is enough for them to end their business dealings with Drake Maverick.
I mean, the silver lining is they could be part of, one of 4 teams that could help revitalize the Raw Tag division.
And we saw what they can do in NXT.
Yeah.
And when booked correctly, it's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And bring back Paul Ellering.
And they are young. I mean, it's a fairly new call-up, but it has been a botch so far.
Yeah.
It has been great.
Yes.
Number 9.
9.
Alberto Del Rio, or Alberto El Patron.
He got fired from Impact.
That seems like it wouldn't be easy to do. They will hire anybody.
Seemingly. So we saw him at the end of 2017 at a house show, a co-brand event between Impact and Big Time Wrestling.
Big Time.
Out in the Bay Area. And he was in a match, the main event, I believe, against Moose. And it was like the first time I've actually seen Alberto engaged. I saw charisma.
Yeah, he was fun.
He was a lot of fun. And the conclusion of that show, he said he wants to be an Impact for the rest of his career.
Yeah. Probably says that wherever he goes.
Yeah, no. And then 3 months later, he gets fired because he no-shows an event.
Yeah.
It was it's WrestleMania weekend. It was a co-promoted show between Impact and Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be wrestling,
Which is a big deal for Impact,
yes.
which especially at the time, they were sort of digging their reputation out of a ditch.
Yeah. Do you remember who he was supposed to be facing at that show?
I don't know. Wasn't it a tag match? Like Austin Aries, the Penta guys, Phoenix?
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that.
I think so.
It was something like that.
I think so. And then we hear afterwards that
or maybe it was supposed to be Pentagon.
I think
and then
it was
they put
supposed to be
Pentagon into the triple threat match.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be
Aries
Pentagon.
And,
It was supposed to be Pentagon. And then we hear afterwards that they were talking about putting the belt back on Alberto.
Yeah.
So he got fired. We really haven't heard much from him since.
No, we haven't. He was at some MMA thing. I think he's got some MMA thing going on. I don't know. And then I think the other thing for the year was he posted somebody posted an Instagram picture of him, I guess his new girlfriend, and then some other people having dinner. It was a very lovely picture. And then somebody in the comments said something like, "Oh, this just looks like Paige." And then he left a comment going off on Paige. Not that person. He went off on Paige. No, she's crazy. She's got mental health issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, he still has some bitterness apparently. But yeah, getting fired from Impact, that's
It seems like you really got to try to do that.
You really got to try hard to do that.
Yep.
So yeah,
not a good year for Alberto.
No silver linings for him. Number 8. Jason Jordan.
This one's kind of a bummer.
This is a big bummer.
So before Mania, I believe, he was scheduled to go what we heard was a fairly minor neck procedure. And we haven't seen him back on TV since. Hearing rumblings that he might have to retire already. He's been doing some producing work backstage.
Yeah.
I felt like he was really finding his character on Raw and doing some really good work from the from the character standpoint. He's a great wrestler. Fantastic
He's
wrestler.
a fantastic wrestler. He was a tag team champion with Seth Rollins. Mm-hmm. He was involved in sort of a pseudo Shield storyline type thing.
Yeah.
When this happened. But yeah, we hear that, and I agree with you. Although he was doing good work with what he was being given, and I was interested to see if he could turn it into something that was a bit more appealing. If creative had something a bit more appealing for him, but yeah, it's devastating. Like this dude, he was in developmental forever, for a very long time, since NXT started. He was there, and then finally they get the call up as American Alpha. They get split up, and he was sort of doing a lot of nothing for a while. They did the
Kurt Angle's
that's
son.
That's right. That's what split them up. Yeah.
And then it was revealed that Jason Jordan was Kurt Angle's son. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like they didn't know exactly what they wanted to do with it, but then it finally got to the point where Kurt Angle was giving his son chances that he might not necessarily have deserved, and that led to his involvement in the Seth Rollins Dean Ambrose storyline.
Yeah.
And I thought he was really getting his feet under him from a character standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing kind of the annoying, kind of bratty guy pretty well.
Yeah, he was
effectively.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt, and we have not seen him since.
Yeah.
PW Insiders had something up about him going to Birmingham, Alabama. I assume the office of Dr. James Andrews, noted orthopedist. to get reevaluated.
Yeah.
So let's see if there's a chance that he can get back in the ring at some point.
Well, and so there's a little silver lining there, and then also WWE seems eager to keep him on in a producer role.
To their credit, they're really good about that. If talent is hurt kind of under their watch severely enough they can't wrestle again, it seems like if interested, they'll give an opportunity to do something else.
Yeah, and I could
within
see
the company.
Hopefully he can flourish in that role if he's unable to compete any longer. So, you know,
and we've seen it before. We've seen it with T.J. Wilson, Tyson Kidd.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
He had that devastating neck injury.
Yeah.
That could have been fatal.
And we hear a lot about good, matches that are put together that he produces, and it's like, oh wow.
Yeah, it seems like he has a really good mind for the business.
Yeah.
And if Jason Jordan, assuming he's given the opportunity to do something similar, hopefully he will succeed just as well as TJ has.
I hope so. Number 7. Paige.
So again, sad. Forced to retire due to a neck injury.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. However, this is probably the largest silver lining of anybody in this list, because while you could say, yeah, she had a bad year because she was forced to stop wrestling, right away she was named the new general manager of SmackDown, and she has done a fantastic job.
She has got probably the most silver linings here because not only, you're absolutely correct, she's doing a killer job as GM. She seems happy in her real life.
Yeah.
She seems healthier than she was before. She seems mentally, emotionally healthier. She's got a movie coming out based on her life, which The Rock is producing and has a role in. So that's awesome. So there's probably going to be a lot to do with that. But with that, she has a clothing line that she's launched.
Yeah.
So, she's still very young.
Yeah.
And accepting this, it seemed like between her being injured at that house show by Sasha Banks and a wayward kick, between that and then her actually officially announcing her retirement, there was a span of months there.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of time. I wonder if she was trying to come to grips with everything.
Well, and if I remember correctly, there were some rumors that was kind of the case. She kind of didn't want to listen to anybody.
Yeah.
And so eventually it seems like they brought her around to accepting it. And, she had her retirement speech and they brought her in as GM, and she is the absolute perfect example of somebody who has shown that, what, man, if you got to stop the wrestling, there's still a lot of things you can do. You can still be a very, very productive person. And she is fantastic on SmackDown.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
She's really, really great.
She is great.
So, yeah, lots of silver linings for Paige, but it has to be a really difficult pill to swallow.
Oh, definitely.
So you can't do this thing you've been doing since you were basically a kid.
I know.
Yeah. Number 6. The Revival. Say no.
Oh yeah, no. They have not had
2018.
They have not had a good year. In fact, ever since I believe Dash Wilder broke his jaw following the Revival's call up, following WrestleMania 30, which one did he go to? 33? 33.
Yes.
They have been severely underutilized.
Yeah.
They were reduced to basically a comedy act this year.
Yeah, they had the plum spot on Raw 25.
Getting embarrassed by DX, the Club, and Finn Balor.
Yeah. That sucked. It was sort of the Ascension spot that the Ascension had, I think, on Raw 1000. And I was trying to look at the bright side back then, but there hasn't been a lot of bright side to look at. They were in this weird angle up until just very recently with Lucha House Party, where they kept on being placed even as singles competitors into this Lucha House Rules thing, where it was like a 3-on-1 situation.
And they're pretty much the laughing stock of the tag division.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, the silver lining here is several times over. Again, we're a couple weeks removed, which might be a pivotal couple weeks to figure out where they're going to take the Revival. Obviously, we're probably not going to see them at TLC, which happened a couple weeks ago when you're watching this. But the next couple Raws are going to be interesting because Seth Rollins called them out on that episode of Raw a couple weeks ago, where he said, look at the Revival, Baron Corbin. What are you doing with them? This is embarrassing. This is dumb. And I'm hoping that will be a catalyst for them to sort of become a more seriously taken tag
Well, I
team.
think it's not just that. It's that assuming that Vince at the least gave the green light to that promo, if not wrote it himself, that would mean, at least to a certain extent, Vince agrees with that sentiment.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Which gives me hope that he'll realize, oh yeah, the Revival are a fantastic tag team. capable of putting on amazing matches.
And if you look at the online response to it, that's been overwhelming. Like, why aren't you letting these guys wrestle amazing matches? We know they can. Even Nick Jackson, I think, from the Young Bucks tweeted out, we are going to wrestle them one day. So, that's always been a thing. They had that long-running in-joke, FTR, F the Revival. But obviously, that was just something to plant a seed for the long game in case they came to WWE, or, which could happen, the Revival goes to All Elite Wrestling. Exactly. Which by this time, we've recorded this 3 weeks ago, that might have been revealed to be a joke. I don't know.
It'll be tomorrow, probably. January 1st.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's still a lot of silver lining for the Revival. I think they understand that they are a very much loved tag team that everybody wants to see succeed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of silver lining. I would say there's quite a bit more silver lining for the Revival than, like, say, Authors of Pain.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that way.
Yeah. I think they had the ability, or shown the ability, to show off a lot more personality and character by themselves.
Yeah.
Thus far than Authors of Pain have been able to do.
We had often said that with when the Bar was on. I'm so used to calling him the Bar. When the Bar was on Raw, the Revival sort of was a bit of a redundancy. Well, The-Bar is now on SmackDown.
Yeah.
They have been for a little while. And that spot is perfect right there.
I know. You need your ring technicians.
Exactly. Yeah. Number 5. Big Cass. Oh, this is a sad one.
So he was fired this year.
Yeah.
For a variety of issues. I guess he went too long on a promo.
There was also like a backstage incident that involved his ex-girlfriend Carmella, where he got pretty upset that somebody was talking to her. This is all alleged from the dirt sheets. But apparently, he was not happy with somebody talking to Carmella.
Yeah, and he had some attitude issues backstage. A variety of issues, all told, led to his release right in the midst of a pretty major feud against Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, it was a pretty big push for him.
Yeah.
And because he was the first guy that Daniel Bryan was coming up against.
He returned
after
from
his
injury.
return.
Yeah, he returned from injury after WrestleMania, the SmackDown after Mania, after being out for a while after tearing up his knee.
So he got released. We didn't see him or hear from him for pretty much the duration of his what I would assume was the no compete time. I guess.
Yeah, the 90 days. Yeah.
Because it was around that amount of time.
He did make a couple of podcast appearances, I think, and he more or less said, WWE was right to let me go.
He was on Booker T's podcast.
Yeah, that's right. And he said, they were pretty much right to let me go because I wasn't easy to work with.
Yeah. So he was definitely trying to angle himself for a return, saying, I'm wrong, they're in the right. I would love to work there again. And so we didn't hear or see from him for a little while. He shows up for, I think, like his first appearance since his release.
Yeah, the show in...
I think that was another big-time wrestling.
It was
like
one in South
Detroit
Carolina.
Or something, Michigan? South Carolina. Okay. And he didn't look like in the best shape. Like, he's never been... He's always come across kind of as a guy who... sometimes the body just wants to look a certain way. It wants to be a certain way. And you can try to fight it, but... if you're not on that sort of WWE, under that WWE pressure, which maybe he was, he just sort of let himself go a bit. And unfortunately, that led to a lot of body shaming and tomfoolery on the Twitter, which is one thing, but then not long after that, he was at a House of Hardcore
in Philadelphia.
Show.
Yeah, and had a seizure
during intermission at his merch table.
Yeah.
That's rough. That's really rough.
It is. Everything we've heard, which is pretty much Tommy Dreamer's tweet, seems to indicate that he's all right.
Yeah.
We haven't heard anything additional about his status health-wise. But yeah, rough year for Cass.
Yeah, not good. The silver lining is he's relatively young.
Yeah.
He's got name recognition. Whenever you've been in the WWE, that brings your price on the independent market up.
Yep.
Hopefully he can either find it in wrestling or whatever else he wants to do in life.
He went to med school, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He's a smart dude. He's a really smart guy. So hopefully he can get it together and have a killer 2019. I hope he does.
Yep.
Number 4. Bobby Roode. Look at that face, Larson.
Yeah.
Look at that face.
Yeah.
Hey,
that is apparently the day he got Superstar shaken up to Raw.
Oh, okay.
That's his face. That's the level of excitement he had going to Raw.
So they never did turn him heel like I was hoping. When did he get called up? Was it 2017 he got called up?
It was 2017 after Mania on
gosh.
SmackDown.
Okay, yeah.
And then this year, after Mania, I believe he got sent to Raw.
So at least on SmackDown, he had a short run with the U.S. title.
Yeah.
It was underwhelming.
Yeah.
He gets shipped over to Raw as a face.
And they do a whole lot of nothing with him.
A whole lot of nothing. Fairly quickly, he ends up in the losers' locker room. He gets saddled with Chad Gable. They had zero chemistry together. And it wasn't until a couple weeks ago that their team sort of came together as a unit.
Over pee-pee jokes.
Over pee-pee. Hey, whatever it was, pee-pee jokes or not, they seem to be kind of on the same page.
A bond was forged.
The bond was forged. They seem to be a bit more, I don't know, cliquey now. Cohesive. I mean, both in appearance and also just sort of their general
they seem
chemistry.
to improve their chemistry, and it's
maybe all that time. I'm assuming they're on the road together.
maybe.
You know,
It's rough to see Bob Roode, the heights he achieved in NXT, the heights he's achieved pretty much anywhere else he's wrestled.
Yeah.
Come to WWE and be so mismanaged, so misused.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
The dude's money
Yeah, he is.
with the right character in the right role, as we saw in NXT. And he just hasn't been given any opportunity whatsoever to do that on the main roster yet.
Yeah.
We were kind of hoping when he got paired up with Chad Gable, especially given their lack of chemistry and the tension that seemed to be going on between them, that would lead to some sort of heel turn. Doesn't seem to be the case right now, but hopefully at some point they finally let Bob Roode explore some more meaty, interesting character stuff, because he can do that great.
Let Rude be rude.
Yeah.
No, I agree with all that. The silver lining is he's Bobby Roode. He looks amazing. He's a professional. He's fantastic. He's been around a long time. He's been around long enough to know that if you just do your job right, an opportunity will arise at some point.
Yep.
And he's the kind of guy who I imagine will take full advantage of it. I hope they do that with this tag run if it's going to be a long-term thing.
Yeah.
Plenty of silver lining for Bobby Roode.
Yes.
And I'm glad that they gave him some gold to chew on. And hey, maybe he can be, like him and Gable, a foundational piece for a revitalized Raw tag team division. That's what I'm hoping.
That'd be good.
What I'm hoping. Number 3. Hiromu Takahashi. There's his name. Hiromu Takahashi. The ticking time bomb of Los Ingobernables de Japón. He sadly seems like he might have to retire from wrestling.
So he had a match at G1 Special in San Francisco this past July against Dragon Lee. I forget the name of the suplex. He got dropped on his head and broke his neck.
Yeah, pretty much. I remember, I think it was at a restaurant or something, and I looked at the spot, and I was like, so it's the ticking time bomb is just known for doing crazy stuff and being able to
bounce back from it, essentially.
Bounce back immediately.
Yeah.
We've seen this countless times. And so it just looked like another spot that was like, oh my God, that looked terrible, but it's him. It's Takahashi.
Yeah,
he can do that.
Just get right back up. And to the best of his ability, he did. He still won the match with probably a broken neck. I don't believe that's been officially confirmed ever by New Japan, the extent of his injuries. He did have to vacate the junior heavyweight title. And last we heard from Dave Meltzer, he's recovering, but the prognosis doesn't necessarily look good as far as a return to the ring, which is really sad. This guy was just entering his prime. He had immense talent, both in the ring in terms of character work. He was phenomenal. And to think of the matches that he could have had, the work he could have done in the future, if this had not happened, it's really a bummer.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely sad. The only real silver lining here is if you look at Shibata, another guy who had what seems to be a career-ending injury in New Japan, has turned it around. He's doing great work there at the LA Dojo, and seems to really be appreciating life, although he has said, I think, that he plans and wants to come back.
Yeah, he's going to try to come back.
And so that's a little bit different. And we still haven't had any official word as to whether or not this is final for Takahashi. But yeah, no, if it is, it's
another silver lining is we talk about severe neck injuries. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So he might be career ending, but it's not appear to be significantly life altering.
Yeah, sure.
It seems like, as far as we know, he has the use of all his extremities. So
yeah. So, but yeah, an absolute shame. I wonder if he's going to show up at Wrestle Kingdom.
That'd be cool.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
Number two. Enzo Amore. Where to begin with Enzo Amore?
Well, he started the year as WWE Cruiserweight Champion.
And he was, I mean, kind of responsible for, it was like, it was a weird situation because the guy evidently was a pretty decent ratings draw for the company. They put him.
He main evented a couple episodes of Raw.
That's right. Yeah. They put him on 205 Live. He wins that Cruiserweight Championship. He seemed to be responsible, kind of, indirectly, I guess, for the departure of one of our favorite wrestlers, Bastard Pac. However, that's not his fault. He's just doing his job.
Yeah.
Evidently wasn't all that well liked in the locker room.
He reports of some trouble that was caused by him in the locker room. Got kicked out of the locker room once.
Didn't he get kicked off a bus?
Kicked off a bus, yeah. And then reports of a woman accusing him of sexual assault started to surface.
Yeah.
And apparently he did not notify WWE of the investigation and was fired because of it.
That was sort of the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was eventually cleared by the police, I believe.
Well, there wasn't enough evidence.
Sorry, there wasn't enough evidence to charge.
Whatever that ends up being.
Yeah. So from a legal perspective, that wasn't a concern, but he wasn't wrestling anymore.
Yeah.
So he released 2 really bad rap songs.
Yes.
Really bad.
Yeah. One of them was like thoroughly calling out the person who was accusing him of sexual assault. Anyway, you cut it. It's tacky as hell.
It is tacky.
Yeah.
And then he shows up at Survivor Series with a wig on. Sitting like second or third row.
Yeah.
About halfway through the show, he takes the wig off, stands up, starts cutting a promo, like talking like he has a mic in his hand.
He started cutting his old promo.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He had a shirt that says, "I'm doing fine."
Then he got tackled by that awesome security guard.
Yeah, that tackled
the same lady that tackled
Gronk.
Yeah. He got tackled.
I know. And just embarrassed himself publicly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just terribly. And then the following Monday, I think he had a concert in Los Angeles, attended by like 30 people at the Whiskey A Go Go.
But there was one guy there
who bought an Enzo shirt that we saw in the picture.
So he had changed his name from Enzo Amore
to Real One.
To Real One. Maybe the search engine optimization wasn't high on that. So he went back to Enzo, but this time it was
NZO. So he has a shirt in the style of an NWO logo that says NZO. And at the one still I saw from his concert, there's at least one guy who bought an NZO shirt.
He was there front and center. He was like right there. Like, man, this is great. I can't believe I'm this close to my idol, NZO. So, yeah. Anyways, let's get to number 1 and then we get out of here.
Oh.
Number 1. James Ellsworth. So, to kick off 2018, he had a pretty good 2018.
Yeah, he was brought back to WWE a couple times.
He was brought back to WWE a couple times. He had a fairly significant role, apparently, I think, on Grimm's Toy Show.
He also had a pretty significant role in Carmella beating Asuka twice.
He did. He also had a pretty significant role on Impact at one point. And then a couple months ago, he was accused by a 16-year-old girl of sending her lewd pictures. He has categorically denied that. Some of these pictures have been shared online, and I kind of want to burn my eyes out after seeing that stuff. So it's not good. But he's denied it. So there's that. But yeah, he hasn't really wrestled since then. I only see a lot of silver lining there.
No.
No. So, yeah, anyways. Good episode.
Yeah.
Best, worst things in 2018.
Yeah.
Check out, we have another video that's up right now. Another podcast is up right now. People had the best 2018. That's going
to be a fun one.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Don't have to talk about this right here. Anyways, that's it for the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.